Are you a good friend? No, really. Are you a good friend? How do you know? This was part of the question that we answered in My Black Feelings, which meets every Tuesday at noon if you want to join us. Now, the thing is, we had a discussion, or rather, I was asked to hold a discussion on the impact of female friendships and how some of us have been taught to navigate them in the face of the romantic relationship. And I wanted to have this conversation with you. But first, hey sunshine, I'm Dr. Donna Oreo, a sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area, helping black women feel free, fabulous, and effed. Now, where it comes right down to it, where it comes to friendships, we really have to consider, are they impactful? And short answer, yeah. As a matter of fact, my short answer is really along the lines of duh. But yes, your friendships are very impactful. We're talking about impacting your overall health, impacting your mental health, your physical health, your general sense and feeling of well-being. And quite frankly, a lot of us are also feeling kind of lonely. There is a little bit of a loneliness endemic going on. Now, generally speaking, when people talk about the loneliness, this whole idea of loneliness and how bad it is, men tend to be the focus. And yes, they are lonely, but so are women. And the question has been, why are we lonely? And I think some of it is because some of us, we're now moving into this new age, the digital age. We're online and we don't know how to be friends. We don't know how to keep friendships. We don't know how to cultivate friendships. We don't know how to prioritize the friendship, not in the face of the romantic relationship. Because as someone said, there are tools upon tools on how to navigate the romantic. Like, we've got books. There are workbooks, there are whole podcasts. There is so much information that is just dedicated to romance, amour, right? But not so much on, well, what about that black love? What about that love? What about all that? But in your friendships. Part of the reason is because we are taught to see friendships as a secondary sort of relationship, right? Maybe even tertiary if we want to be for real, right? Like, when you're young, you're supposed to prioritize your family. Then it's supposed to come your friends. And then as you get older, the romantic relationship starts to take prominence. Everything moves down a rung so that whoever it is that you may be partnered with becomes number one, and everybody else moves down to number 2 and number 3, respectively, or depending on how you move things. Now, the problem with this is when you prioritize the romantic relationship over everything else, it's you who suffers. And not just you by yourself, but your friends also suffer. So here are 3 things that I brought into the conversation with the girls in My Black Feelings. Number 1, friends are not something to do until you are partnered. Now, contrary to popular belief, your friends are not temporary things for you to play with until you get a new toy. Because quite frankly, that's how a lot of us have been taught to think about and conceptualize and even act within our friendships. You get a partner and you go ghost. You get married and you want to leave your single friends by the wayside because they're not good enough for you to maintain a friendship with. And while the priorities may have changed, while the life circumstances may have changed, I think that some of us don't know how to be friends through changing life circumstances. And instead of saying, let's figure out what our new norm is, we chuck the deuces. Now, that's if you're on the side of my friend got married, and that's also on the side of I'm the friend who got married. It is going to be your responsibility to do what needs to be done. Which brings me to number 2. Friendships, like all relationships, despite what nonsense you have been told, require time, energy, effort. I said what I said because sometimes we are rocking with this idea that friendship should be effortless, that there's no real work here, that it's not something that you have to think about, it's not time that you need to dedicate, there's no energy involved. You're wrong. You're wrong. With love, you're wrong, and you've been taught wrongly. And I think somebody taught you wrongly on purpose, probably because they don't know how to make friends either, probably because they don't know how to maintain friends either. So they're teaching you that friends somehow don't mean as much, and they do, and they still require things. I know that we get caught up in who's supposed to pay for the birthday dinner and all other kinds of conversations. The point is this: you're supposed to show up for the birthday dinner. Like, no, you may not want to go, but you also have to consider, do you want to show up for your friend more than you want to stay in your bed today? Do you want to plan time to spend with your friend? Maybe one-on-one if you don't want to do a group. Are you going to do it? Are you going to follow through with it? Are you going to make room for them to be in your life? Being in any type of relationship, in any type of space, costs. The biggest way that a lot of our relationships cost, and I do mean like the relationship you have with people at work, your romantic relationships, friendships, family, one of the biggest way is by way of time, friend. Are you going to give them time? Yes, reserve some time for you, which may mean that you may need to go ahead and look at your boundaries and how they are boundarying, but still, you want to spend time with these people because they're your people. You said that you love them. You said that you like them. They're going to require time. And the time that you spend together should be planned, which requires energy and effort. Yes, do things like just hang out, shoot the shit, sit in your house, sit in their house. Yes, but also go to the movies. Also go to dinner. Go for a walk. Go to the park. Have fun after dark. Whatever it is that you're going to do those things. But it does require energy as well. Now, while we're talking about the fact that friendships actually do take time, energy, and effort, it should also be said that it is not your responsibility to stay in a relationship because it has longevity. Some of us are staying in friendships because it was a long time ago, as opposed to whether or not that friendship has quality. We want quality over quantity. Sometimes we're looking at quantity of years and we're not looking at the quality of the relationship. And part of that piece, that mismatch that is going on, is why we don't want to take the time, the energy, and the effort to make that friendship work. And then let's go straight into honest evaluation, because the piece that I just said about quality over quantity can also apply here. And that is, honest evaluation is necessary. Yes, honest evaluation of not just what you want, but also what they want. Making sure that y'all are matching up and that this is not one of those awkward turtles where y'all just can't get in sync. Right? You want to be able to be in sync with whoever this person is, and that is going to require some honest evaluation, including asking yourself if you are a good friend. Because quiet as it's kept, you might not be. Some of us are not. We're not the best friends that we could be. We're the friends that we're willing to be, because some of us are not willing to put in time, effort, or energy. But I digress. Getting into these other pieces of the honest evaluation. While you're doing this honest evaluation, remember that some friends are actually just meant to be there for a season. Some of them will stop being friends, but may start being associates. And I like to say that there are people that I'm friends with, and then there are people that I'm friendly with. If you're friendly, you can move to friend. And if you're my friend, you can still move to friendly. I still will give you respect. It's just a matter of how much of my time you will get. That becomes the thing that differs here. And I want you to evaluate, because every relationship that you have with everybody is not intended to be a friendship, but take a little look-see, right? The other piece is this. Sometimes our friends move closer to us or further from us based on life circumstances. And we want to make room for life to be lifing, because it will. But at the same time, we still want to make sure that we are placing some of our emphasis, some of our effort into trying to maintain or even having an honest conversation about what is going on. This brings me back to what I said before. You also want quality, not just quantity. Too many of us are languishing in these relationships with people because we've known them since we was yay high to a fly. That's cute. It's cute. It's very cute. It's giving. It's giving you didn't evaluate it. It's giving it probably hurts. It's giving not a safe space. It's giving we only have yours, we don't have anything else in common, but we stay because we feel like we're supposed to, because that shows that we're really good friends? Question mark? And I don't know that's what you wanted it to give. So what we wanted to give something different, which requires that honest evaluation. So I also want us to keep in mind, like, some of us got a they don't beat me mentality, right? Like, they don't beat me physically, they don't beat me mentally, they don't beat me emotionally, and so I stay in this relationship. They don't feed me, but they don't beat me. They neglect you, but they don't hit you. And you're sort of staying in the relationship, again, because of the number of the years, as opposed to the quality of the friendship, as opposed to the quality of the connection. Now, before you go throwing people away because that's not what I told you to do, you have to evaluate. You have to give an honest overall reflection of who you are, where you've been, and how you've been showing up. Look at how they have been and how they're showing up. Ask them to do the same and switch. Have a conversation. Now, I will leave a resource in the notes below where you can go ahead and check it out. It's called the Relationship Goals Guide, and it is intended for all types of relationships: friendships, loverships, familyships, your relationship with yourself. I developed it for my clients, and other people have been using it, and they find it to be helpful in being able to know what was, what is, and what you want things to be. Let's move on, because what I do have are some tips for how we can, for better black love in your relationships, in your friendships with the people that you say you care about. These tips came from the dope ass women in my Black Feelings, again on Tuesdays at noon. Now, these are just suggestions on how you could help your friendships to be stronger, to be better, or things that you can start thinking about as far as moving these things into your relationship. Not an exhaustive list, just the ones that we came up with during the course of our conversation. Number one, check in regularly. If your regular check-ins are once a month, once every 3 months, once a week, once a day, whatever, check in. Let your friend know that, you know, you are a story in progress, and that y'all want to keep up with what's going on in the story. It's like, hey girl, what's tea, right? Number two, somebody picked this one up from, it's a TikTok tip. They say it's called Waffle Wednesdays, where y'all just waffling about some bullshit. On a Wednesday, I decided to elevate it. I think I'm going to try it out, and I'm actually going to have waffles with my friends on Wednesdays, so that we can use it as a way to just catch up, send memes, and all the other type of things that feel like, okay, connection. Number three, talk about your communication expectations with your friends. Quiet as it's kept, we don't all communicate in the same way. We have not all been taught communication skills, which means that we have to put in a little extra effort. Which could also look like saying, hey, how do you want me to be with you when things are good? How do you want me to be with you when things are bad? How do you want me to check in with you when you are grieving, when you are, if you should have a kid, da, da, da. All of these things are worth talking about. All of these things are worth noting. I recently did this with one of my friends. She's anticipating this year being a little bit difficult, and I was just like, well, I need to know how you like for me to show up. That was a conversation about what may be to come in the future, and now I know, so I'm prepared. Number four, you need to know what kind of friend you are and what kind of friend they are, so that y'all can try to not require the other person to be who you are, but rather to appreciate what you bring. You may be the intense friend, you could be the laid back friend, you could be the ditzy friend, the whatever kind of friend it is. You probably have a type, and you probably behave in a certain way. Knowing what kind of friend you are gives you an opportunity to choose how you're showing up and whether or not that's the kind of friend you want to be. Some of you, yes, you are the strong friend. Stop it, sis. Stop. Because it just means that you do more work that you don't need to be doing, but I digress. We'll move on to something else. Number 5, cultivate emotionally, mentally, and physically safe space among your friends. Some of y'all, like I said before, y'all got these long ass friendships where people beat on you mentally and emotionally. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay for them to say that thing that they said. It's not okay to do that thing that they did. You need to put a boundary in place and you need to evaluate that friendship. I too have had to let some friendships go because while I was loving the space for the most part, I left feeling like shit some of the time, just from some of those like sideways, backhanded comments. Now, I had conversations about those. I pointed them out when they happen. I give them opportunity to correct and apologize. But the best apology is always going to be changed behavior. And sometimes they were unwilling to do that. And while I don't fault them for being unwilling, I also can't suffer because they're not yet there. It's not my place to be their punching bag, and it's not your place either. Number 6, it's not a competition. We are pushing each other toward collaboration and challenging each other to be better. Find those friends, not the ones that are just in competition with you, unless that's how you like your friendship, with a sprinkling of competition. At least in that case, make it plain, friend. Make it clear that y'all know what's going on here. Number 7, be boundaried, as in have a boundary, share a boundary, be a boundary. And if you need help with boundaries, read the book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace. Some of you are overextended in your friendships. You are overextended in your friendships. Why are you overextended in your relationships? Because you don't have no boundaries. And because you don't have any boundaries, you think your friends shouldn't have any boundaries. So you are the one that is often upset because you don't have any boundaries. We gonna have to work on that, friend. Number 8, when something is awry, don't wait until you are ready to blow before you have a conversation. Some of y'all, we be having these points where we're upset with what's going on, but instead of saying anything, we sort of squirrel it away. We're a squirrel with a nut. We just we're going to put that right there. We're going to hold it right there. And we try to sweep it under the rug, put it to the side. And at some point, it's like you have this avalanche, this closet filled with grievances that have occurred that you've never said anything. And when you try to put another one in there, the whole thing comes out and it spews in the ugliest way. Part of this is your responsibility, because when you neglect to say something because you're trying to keep the peace, you disrupt the peace within you to keep peace between you. That's not how this works, right? Nobody gets peace at your expense. That means that, you know what? I'm not feeling peaceful. I don't like what was said. It hurt my feelings. We both about to be mad. If that's what it's going to take, that's what it's going to take. Because when I tell you what's bothering me, it gives you an opportunity to correct. It gives an opportunity for us to have a conversation, because maybe I'm misinterpreting what is happening. And as a result of our conversation, we can choose whether or not we get to continue on together or if we're going our separate ways. But you can't come to that conclusion if you never have the conversation, or if you're squirreling everything away until all you're ready to do is blow up, because the wake of that destruction usually is your friendship. I want you to consider that. And the final one here that was a suggestion is you should have a diverse group of friends. So, you know, the ones that you just party with, the ones that you read books with, the one that you do this with. Now, they may be people in all of these spaces that you do all of these things with, and that's dope. But in case they're not, you should at least be able to have a bunch of spaces where you can do things. I have a friend where we have deep ass conversations conversations that require journal articles to be sent in advance. We set the time, the date when we're going to meet, and we have the conversation. With another friend, we are reading books for our enjoyment and then setting times on when we're going to have a conversation to also talk about the mental health implications. With other friends, we talk makeup, we talk food, we go out. You can have all kinds of friends to be the fullness of who you are, where you never have to leave pieces of you by the wayside to fester because nobody wants to rock with you in that way. You can have friends that do all the things or none of the things. It's really up to you. So those are the 9 tips that the people gave on how we can practice better love within our friendships that also include how we show up. Now, a question for you to consider: how do you practice love within your friendships, especially Black love? And how do you navigate friendships when you get or have a partner? Because somebody needs what you got. They need to know how you navigate it so that they can begin to reconceptualize how they're building their own relationships. Anyway, you are the bee's knees. I hope you have a delicious day, and I will see you next time. Bye.